from political analyst Dahlia Scheindlin in Tel Aviv. She is also an expert in public opinion. Thank you very much, Dahlia, for joining us. There is clearly time, I think, from what Hadass was pointing to there, for some political horse trading for Netanyahu to try to convince people not to back this coalition. What is your read of the landscape, the political landscape right now?
Well, I think it is a little bit gentle to call it political persuasion. What we're seeing is a very strong arm, muscular form of persuasion in which the key members of the Yamina party, that's Naftali Bennett's small right-wing party, who have moved into the Change Coalition, they are being pressured through, frankly, intimidation, incitement. Hadass mentioned the demonstrations at their home. One of the legislators who is considered a candidate for possibly being convinced has been trailed on the road to the point where she was essentially run off the road while driving. And, the question is whether that will work. And
Yeah.
I think that what we're hearing so far from inside the system is that the people who are bearing the brunt of this pressure so far have said they are not changing their minds. And Hadass was right to point out that it takes only a handful, but that handful would have to not only change their minds not to vote for this government, they would have to actively vote against it, because you need a plurality. I mean, you don't need a full majority to vote in the government. You need a plurality to vote for it, and you need more than that to vote against it. So they would have to actually switch their votes. They can't just abstain. And I think it looks increasingly unlikely that Netanyahu or other right-wing elements, we should say, it's not only him, it's members of the far right, members representing settler communities and very nationalist groups that are angling for this direction. But it looks so far like the parties that are committed to going into the Change Coalition are at this moment still committed to their decision.
But obviously, the rest of the week, the more time Netanyahu has, the more pressure he can put on these individuals to switch sides, so to speak. What we have heard as well, Dahlia, and we played a little clip, is this language that's almost reminiscent of Donald Trump. Things like the biggest fraud, I think he said, election fraud in the history of the country, saying that he felt cheated as well. And that people should come out and protest and the formation of a new government. This, of course, is the intelligence we heard from Hadass, warning of potential political unrest. How big of a worry, of a concern is this, in your opinion?
I think it's a serious concern. Israel is a country that's had not one, but several political assassinations in its history. It is very unusual for the chief of the Internal Security Agency, the Shabak, to issue such a warning. And I think that what this government is doing is not almost reminiscent of Trump. It is exactly reminiscent of Trump, in fact, including some of the very same language. Netanyahu used the phrase in Hebrew that translates almost directly to steal of the century. So he's clearly, and the hyperbole, of course, that this is the biggest fraud that's ever happened, very Trumpian. But I think that it didn't start with Trump. Netanyahu has governed with this kind of incitement and very divisive rhetorical style in his leadership, always finding some internal enemy within Israeli society. In the past, it has been Arab-Palestinian citizens of the country, the kind that he was courting himself when he was when he was tapped to form the government. It's also been against left-wingers, anybody who serves his political agenda to attack, he has attacked, and his coalition partners. This has been the ruling style for most of Netanyahu's term over the course of the decade, and it's just reaching a fever pitch. I want to say one more thing. Netanyahu and his coalition partners over this time have made a major effort to undermine the legitimacy of the Israeli law, of the Israeli judiciary, of the Supreme Court, the Attorney General, the state prosecutor, and the police. And this is when it's coming to fruition, because I think that what we're seeing, and what we saw in recent weeks during the escalation, was that there are many people in this country who do not necessarily comply with the rule of law or believe in the authority of the law. And I think that they are hoping that by the same logic, that Israel doesn't need to respect the outcome of democratic elections. And what's happening now to form the Change Coalition is a natural outcome of democratic elections. Netanyahu does not seem to be accepting a peaceful transition of power at this moment.
Such important context, Dahlia. Truly appreciate Dahlia Scheindlin in Tel Aviv. A really important context. We'll keep an eye, of course, on all the moving parts out of Jerusalem and the Knesset, obviously, critical point in political history there in the country. Appreciate it.